Right, so hello everybody and welcome to another talk on this channel. Today I'm going to be speaking with Hakeem Atabek, a specialist in Unani-Tibb. So that's the Greek, would I be right in saying just Greek herbal medicine? Would that be a good interpretation?
Yes, correct, yes, yeah.
So he's going to talk to us a little bit about this system. Before we start, I just wanted to say why I brought this meeting together and why I was interested in this. When I was doing my Ayurvedic studies in Sri Lanka, I was working a lot with the pharmacy, and the pharmacy at the top end of the factory was sort of split into two. So on one side, they were preparing the Ayurvedic formulas, on the other side, the Unani formulas. And I just got interested in both really. And spending time and looking at these two different systems, I began to realize that although they're sort of separate traditions, there is so much that crosses over. There are many things that are the same. There's more of the same than there's different. So I've always had an interest in it. And recently, after sort of 20 years of doing this work, I just got more interested in returning to the Unani formulas. And I've been rereading all the old books that I got and just kind of been preparing for fun, mainly just to see if I could prepare some stuff in the same, in a slightly different tradition. So I've been messing around and preparing a few things, and it just kind of reignited my interest in the system. And it gave me a deep appreciation of how much information there is in the system, how fascinating it is. So I just wanted to reach out and speak to somebody who really knew a lot about this system and knew what they were doing, not me who's just dabbling. So we have a mutual friend, the Hakeem and I have a mutual friend that kind of introduced us, and he said, yes, I know just the person to speak to who would know all about this. So hence I asked Hakeem Atabek on today to talk about Unani. So without further ado, Hakeem, over to you. Perhaps you'd like to sort of start by telling us a little bit about, who you are, a little bit about your background, how you got interested in these sort of things.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I hope that we're going to have very good chat today, because especially I've spent quite a long time also in the herbal medicine. Yeah, and obviously it's a very interesting topic. Yeah, and I do assume that I remember I've been invited in Germany. Mm-hmm. So, and it was I think it was the organization who were interested into the healing by bioenergy. Yes, and then when I presented my side of the treatments and healing, like Unani, ancient Greek style, so they really appreciated, they really loved it, they found it very interesting. So I hope that today our conversation or our chat is going to be very interesting. I'm sure for the people, for the viewers, yeah? Yeah, okay, so basically, because if you remember in medieval, when all these Latin and Greek books being translated into Arabic and Persian languages, so Muslims started getting into it also. So and also so because of these translations, it was also was sent to all over the Muslim world, including Central Asia, from where I am. And maybe the most famous scholars of ancient Greek medicine, some of them could be from Central Asia also, which is Ibn Sina, Avicenna. And his book, like encyclopedic book, which is known as Canon on Medicine. So that's the maybe most famous book in the ancient Greek herbal medicine. So anyway, that's how medicine was just, it came to us, to Central Asia, and that's how, I don't know what type of medicine they used to practice. Well, because we're coming from Turkic, Central Asia is Turkic like background historically. So most likely they used to be shamanic, you can say, way of treating, maybe before Islam coming. Okay. But anyway, after transferring into this ancient Greek medicine, entire that Central Asia, they became involved into it. They left their past traditions, and that's how it became very, very broadly practiced in our area. And during that time, obviously, because medicine is not something that person will be practicing just on his own, but it will be like, for example, the kings or whatever they are, the governors, they will bring all of those herbalists to establish something, you can say, which is monitored or which is maybe looked after by the government. Okay. And that's how we started having this thing called Bemaristan. Bemaristan is from Persian, is translated as hospital, Bemaristan. So the head herbalists or head doctors, they are the ones who are now known as, you can say, the most famous scholars of ancient Greek medicine. Okay, including Razi and including Samarkandi, very famous personality. So all of them used to be the heads of the Bemaristans, hospitals. So, and also our dynasty belongs to one of them, the heads of the Bemaristans. And so that's how the knowledge is passed on to our generation. But because the contemporary chemical medicine, it has maybe conquered the entire world. So unfortunately, about 200 years ago, maybe even before that, so the ancient Greek medicine was ignored even in Central Asia. But only the descendants of the head doctors in the past, only they are the ones who are carrying the heritage of this knowledge, actually. Because for them it's inheritance received from their forefathers, so they value it very highly. Okay, and that's how we do have in our time, we do have few families in Central Asia. They are known as Hakimzada. So whenever you find someone's title Hakimzada, straight away you should know that he belongs to the dynasty of this tradition, actually.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe 1,000 years ago, maybe 600 years ago, their forefathers used to be the heads of these Bemaristans, and now their title is Hakimzada. So we belong to one of those dynasties, and in our time, our families practice it in quite tight, you can say, not as broad as it used to be in the past, but you can say very tight condition. So we go to the mountains to get to collect the plants, and then we dry them, and then we check diagnose the patients, and then we prepare the illness according to each of according to the diagnosis of each of these patients. Yeah. Okay, so we do not do mass production, for example, as it is with paracetamol. Yeah. So that's how it is, you can say, in very, very tight condition. But that heritage is still ongoing. But because of the strength or maybe popularity of the contemporary medicine, which is supported by the government, so these dynasties are now dying out. But yet we have some of them. They are getting smaller and smaller. Yeah, but so anyway, we belong to one of those dynasties.
Would it be true to say then, if you say you've got these heads, these like patriarchs, if you like, and they're like heads of the dynasty, if you come from a particular lineage, would you specialize in one field, or it would just be general to all of them?
So basically, till our time, so there is some type of, these families, they feel some type of I don't know, I don't know how to say it, duty maybe, or so maybe duty, to carry on with this heritage. Okay, so that's why they find the most, you can say, a suitable person in the family, and they put the pressure on him to carry on with this, But it was not the case with me, because I found it interesting by myself, so no one had to force me. Okay. Yeah, so from the childhood, I used to just see how my relatives, they're preparing the remedies. So and that's how I used to. No one had to put the pressure on me, because I found it very interesting. Because from the childhood, I used to see, for example, my grandmother going out to the because she was quite old lady when I used to be with her. So she didn't used to go to the mountains, but we used to go. But she used to go to the forest nearby, and to go and collect, and she used to dry the plants, some of them under the shadow, some of them under the sunlight, some of them under moonlight. For me, it was very interesting. Okay, so that's how, I decided that I will carry on. And for some reason, the rest of the family, they didn't find it interesting, so they went, for trading, and some of them went even musicians. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I was only the person to continue with this. Yeah.
And is that because you had a natural interest in, were you quite a practical person? You sort of quite hands-on, you like to make these things, or?
Yes. So I think I have something in me. I don't want to mention it as like a matter of pride, but curiosity. I think this is my key point, maybe. So anything. So the curiosity pushes very far. If person curious, but also sometimes it has got side effect, negative side effect. For example, if there is some equation, herbal equation, and I do not know how to get, how to find the solution, I cannot sleep well. So I have to just go and find until when I get to the result, and then I find peace of mind, and then I go to sleep,
Okay.
So curiosity is good because it pushes you, but also it causes like insomnia sometimes because you couldn't find the answer. So you cannot sleep well,
And how much is still available? Are you still able to access a lot of the old texts, or is it more kind of an oral tradition, or
So basically, the herbal medicine is not academic subject, but it is practical. So it's not theoretical, but practical. Okay. So you need both. Okay. So you have to have direct access to the ancient books, and we are very fortunate. Maybe the biggest ever herbal library is ancient Egyptian herbal library, as far as I know. Okay. Because we may have thousands of books published, but not published ones yet even more. But so only reading the book is not sufficient, but you have to go and learn it practically also. Yes, so you need both. But I was lucky because they used to practice it from my childhood in front of my eyes. So when I started studying it with my uncle, with my maternal uncle, so for me it was very easy to understand because I saw it. First, I learned it practically, and then I was reading the principles. I was studying the principles, so it was very easy for me to relate. I've spent most of my time reading the classical books. Understand? So that's why the person with contemporary mindset may not understand what I'm saying, because the way I think and the way I speak, it is based on that classical texts, So that's why I do recommend the viewers who find it interesting to watch it as a minimum 2-3 times. Because for the first time, they will not understanding it. They will not understand what I'm going to say. So that's the first point. The second point, coming back to the herbal medicine, when I went to America, they call our medicine, herbal medicine, as homeopathic medicine. It is incorrect.
Right.
Ancient Greek medicine is allopathic and not homeopathic. That's the first point. So homeopathic is curing the illness with something similar. But we do not do that, but we do with the opposite. Okay, for example, cancer, it is cold and dry illness. So our treatment, our remedies are not cold and dry, but it is hot and wet remedies. So we follow the allopathic medicine. So that's the first thing. And just according to my understanding, Americans call the contemporary chemical medicine as allopathic. Yeah. So I respect the terminologies. Okay. But the meaning of allopathy is opposing the illness to cure it. Okay, but homeopathy is according the illness to cure it.
Yeah.
For example, if you have anxiety, I will cause you more anxiety, so you will be cured. That is homeopathy. Okay, but according to us, you have anxiety, I will reassure you, I will give you reassurance, and I will make jokes with you, so I will oppose your condition. Yeah, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, unlike the contemporary medicine, ancient Greek medicine is holistic. Okay, so for example, I have eye problem. Yeah, contemporary medicine will focus on the eye, but I will most likely focus either on the brain or on the liver, because what I see, the problem in the eye, it is just it is caused by the main illness. Okay, and the main illness is the liver is unable to produce healthy liquids, healthy properties. And to maintain the eye, we need very fine and healthy properties. For that, you need to have fit liver. So even if you get rid of that problem in the eye, but the actual problem is in your liver. So you did not cure it, but you just delayed the illness, because illness will continue, because that unhealthy liquid will continue coming to the eye.
Yeah.
Carry on causing the same illness over and over again. Okay, so but that's not everything. So I will not cure just the liver, but holistic medicine is slightly bigger, because, for example, the liver is hot and wet. Okay, so for example, unfortunately, the contemporary Muslims are because I believe that there will be some contemporary Muslims, or maybe contemporary religious people, are atheist religious people. For them, matter what they can sense, that only affects on the body. We followers of the Greek medicine, we do not believe in that. Okay, well, but we believe in something more than that. So, for example, the sun gives us heat, yes, but there are other planets also which gives us different effect. The dryness and heat, it is the effect of Mars. In its stationary, it will affect on. So as during August, if I go out naked, my skin will be within half an hour dark.
Yeah.
Understand? So on the same way, in the August season of Mars, obviously August is not the season of Mars, but Mars has got its own seasons. So in that season, Mars will cause dryness in the body. So your skin does not become dark black, but your Mizāj will become dry. So all the dry illnesses will be spread during that time.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So means you have eye problem. You come to me. My first duty will be to check your brain or to check your liver. If I find that your liver is not producing healthy properties, so most likely it is dry properties. And then I will look into the August season of Mars. So if now is the August season of Mars, so I will do not cure you, but I will do tadbir. So in our medicine, we have two things, yeah? Curing, we call it ilaj, and the second is tadbir. Tadbir is not curing, it's not treatment, but it is not the rehabilitation, but creating the healthy environment or suitable environment, or maybe you can call it like a preventative medicine, but it's not preventative medicine. Okay, so I will give you an example so that you'll understand the difference between the treatment, ilaj, and tadbir. Yeah. So this patient has cancer. Cancer, according to our ancient Greek medicine or ancient Egyptian medicine, which we practice, is the illness of the heart. So even if the cancer tumor is in the lung, I will not focus on the lung, but I will focus on the heart, because cancer is the illness of the heart. So it is called heart, actually.
Okay.
Understand? So the treatment of that would be preparing the golden remedy to back up the heart. So that is the treatment, ilaj. But tadbir is, after diagnosing the illness, I understand that the stationaries are not affecting, but the problem is your house. Your house is in cold and dry condition. Right now, I will not give you a treatment, which is ilaj, but I will give you tadbir. I will just move you to another, for example, house which is humid and wet, humid and hot. So now I'm not giving you ilaj, but I'm giving you tadbir. So I'm not really sure what's the most maybe suitable word in English. So it's not preventative, but is it?
Supportive. It's like a supportive remedy, isn't it? You're supporting. You're getting external remedies. So
yes,
the remedy is changing their environment, so they benefit from.
Yeah. So it's not like treatment with the remedies, but it is like, as you mentioned, supporting thing, a supportive condition. Yeah. So now that house. So coming back to our patient who has got problem in his eye. So I will not focus on the eye, but first I will look into the closest cause. Closest cause is either brain or liver. And then I will look into the main cause. Main cause is bigger than that. So for example, as I mentioned, it is the season of Mars, which causes dryness in the body. And because he was not ready, for the season of Mars, because he was consuming a lot of crisps, for example, which causes dryness in the liver anyway. So the effect of Mars is much more stronger than the effect of the crisps.
Right.
Yes, so it's the same as you. Do you know chimney? Do you have chimney? You make a fire.
Yeah. To move the smoke away from the.
Yeah. So ancient, like last century in England, they used to have chimney in the house, where there would be fire. So if you would come close, it would burn you.
Yeah.
But its burning is not as much as, for example, August sun in, for example, Sahara, which is stronger than chimney. You understand? So the effect of crisps is there. It will dry up your liver.
Yeah.
But Mars is stronger to do the same effect.
Yeah. Got it.
So you should be preparing yourself for the season of Mars by consuming wet and cold things. Yogurt, Greek yogurt. Understand?
Right.
Yeah, but your patient with eye problem, he was not doing it, but he was into salty things, so into dry things,
Yeah.
Crisps, etc. So he was ready to be smashed by the season of Mars.
Yeah.
So as soon as it came, he felt ill, and as a consequence, like itchy throat, itchy lungs, cough, dry cough, eye problems, and if you understand what I mean. So all of these are caused by close reason, which is the liver, dry liver, and the dry liver is caused by the season of Mars.
So you're saying the person inherently would have a liver that was predisposed to do that, but something about their birth, their time of birth, or is it like a seasonal influence of Mars, or is this an influence because of their birth time or something like that? Is it?
So all of that. So for example, maybe I can give a better example or easier example for our viewers to understand. For example, let's suppose that this lady, let's call her, I don't know, Joan, yeah? So she's pregnant, and she became pregnant in February.
Okay.
And she lives in village. And her sister, Anne, became pregnant in October. And both of them live in the village.
Right.
Yeah? So in your own understanding, based on the contemporary science, based on contemporary science, whose child is going to be much more stronger in your understanding?
I'd imagine the one that was born earlier in the year, because you've got the summer to come, not going straight into winter.
Excellent, because during the spring and summer, sunlight and a lot of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
But Anne, who became pregnant in October, she will not have all of these privileges. So the babies will not be in the same level of strength.
Right.
So that it's easy to understand,
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, as I mentioned, because we're only contemporary human, only believes in this matter, and sun, we can see it, and we can see its effect also on our skin, for example. Yeah, but also each planet has got its own effect. For example, cancer patients, for example, normally with melancholic dry, because melancholic illnesses are extra dry illnesses. So for them, we, for example, we dry the plants which we are going to use in the remedy under moonlight, because moon is moisture. So even when it is drying the plant, it will be moisture dry.
Right, got it.
So because the melancholic illnesses are extra dry illnesses. For that, we need dry plant, but moisture, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
But if I would dry the plant under, for example, the sunlight, the sun, even though in itself is mu'tadil, balanced, but its effect on the plant will be by making it dry also. So it will not be as effective on curing the melancholic illnesses. Yeah, so means each of those, for example, sun has got its own certain effect, and moon, and also the other planets. Okay, when drying the plants, and for example, how liver reacts, for example, to all of those things, how brain reacts, or how heart, for example, reacts. Yeah, so that is the holistic way of looking into the illness. Yeah, so maybe it is very important to know, because this coming back to this patient with the illness in his eye. So if I cure only his, if I focus only on his eye, so his illness will be still in his body, because his dry liver is not cured.
Yeah.
So it will carry on coming back all the time. So
Yeah.
then, so I will have no choice but prescribing the remedy for the rest of his life. Yeah.
Because you're just treating the symptom, not the cause, aren't you? It's like like trimming the branches of a tree when the root is still.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But obviously the root is a bit further. So so it's not in the liver, but the liver became dry because of other reason. So I have to try to find a solution for that main reason.
Wow.
And after that, focusing on the liver.
So how would you determine that if you didn't know? Somebody's come, you've decided it's the liver, and you're thinking, okay, this is the Martian influence here. So how would you then determine how much influence Mars is having on that person?
Obviously, our dynasty, we do not trust the person who does not have knowledge of herbal astronomy.
Okay.
Because his remedies, it will be effective, okay, but he will be missing the biggest part of the cause. Yes, so it's the same as, do you know Chernobyl? Do you know this?
Yeah.
Chernobyl, yeah, radiation.
Yeah.
So let's say that your patient lives there and he has got dry skin.
Yeah.
So skin, most of the problems of the skin is because of the liver again. And you are a doctor, you will cure his liver, but his liver became dry because of this radiation. So you have to tackle that problem first, either by removing him from that Chernobyl to other part, and then focusing on the liver, or doing something similar, or creating some house which is fully isolated, from that radiation. But as long as the person is living just next to that main cause of the illness, so curing the liver is going to be, it will be effective, but it will be waste of time, because the person will catch the illness over and over again, because the main reason is that he's living next to that radiation,
Wow. So it's a lot of things to consider. It's not just basically, like you say, you're not focusing on it's the whole sort of pathogenesis, isn't it? The whole series of how they've arrived at that disease.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, according to our medicine, 3 main organs is brain and heart and liver, and 1 extra, again, main, but for reproduction and not life supporting. But life supportive organs are mainly 3. Okay, brain, heart, and liver. But the illness comes when they dysfunction.
Right.
And the reason why they dysfunction is because of all of them reasons. So that's why without looking into the problem holistically, you cannot be effective herbalist. So you have to have all this knowledge.
One of the problems in the Ayurvedic approach is kind of, you've got these two, they call it, so you have your prakruti, what you're born with, and then you have your kind of adaptive quality as well. So let's say I'm pitta prakruti, so I'm born as a very pittery person, but I've lived somewhere cold all my life. And it's modified, it's created like a second layer, and that's deceptive, because it's looking like it's sort of watery, sort of phlegmatic on the surface, but underneath it's hot. So how would you be able to separate those two qualities?
We have exactly the same thing even in our medicine. So we have many reasons which will shape you as a human. Okay, it includes, for example, the place where you're born and the time when you're born, and many other things, and also diet. But there is obviously, so all of them will limit one another. So exactly as you have mentioned. So for example, let's say that I am choleric person. Why? Because I was born, let's say, in early August. Okay, but I was born, in Scotland. Okay, and Scotland is melancholic. Okay, melancholic. Obviously, choleric and melancholic both are dry, but one is cold and one is wet.
Yeah.
Okay, one is cold and the other is hot. Okay, so my default Mizāj will remain as choleric. However, the level of my choleric Mizāj will not equal to the level of choleric person born in Sahara.
Okay.
Okay, it will not affect only on the behavior, but it will affect on the illnesses also. So the person in Sahara, okay, so let's suppose that we both of us will have a condition in which causes cancer. So his body will be stronger to fight the cancer. And his default Mizāj is also choleric, but my default Mizāj is choleric, but I'm living in melancholic climate.
Yeah.
So I will catch but yet because of my default Mizāj, my body will fight against the cancer successfully, but it will stay not as long, carry on fighting as that person from Sahara.
Okay.
Okay. So that's in terms of health-wise, but also in terms of behavior. So the Sahara-born choleric person is much more courageous than me, who is born in Scotland, but I'm also choleric. Because choleric people are the most courageous and rebellious. Okay, but the effect of the climate to make my Mizāj cooler is there.
Right.
So I will not be as brave as him.
Well, would there be any good qualities of having that as well? So would the melancholic humor give you any qualities that, let's say, the pure choleric person wouldn't have? Well, there must be benefits as well as disadvantages to.
Exactly. So there is any condition in which 100% positive about, from all aspects, So, for example, the choleric person who is born, for example, in Sahara, he will be much more heedless than me. Choleric people are known for heedlessness. Melancholic people are very intelligent. Okay, they can see through you. Okay, so I will have a bit of that. Okay, and also let's say that you can rely on my knowledge more than on his knowledge, even though both of us are heedless, academically, heedless. Okay, we both understand very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, choleric people understand very quickly, but in terms of quality, melancholic people are much more better. So because I'm living in melancholic climate, so my quality of my knowledge will be a bit wider than my twin who is living and who is born in Sahara.
Right.
So there is plus and minus, definitely. And also the choleric illnesses, okay, in him, okay, he will catch choleric illnesses faster than me.
Right.
Yeah, for example, insomnia, okay, migraines, okay, and also palpitations, okay, or for example, jaundice, or any type of choleric illnesses, he will catch them quicker than me.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what parts, if you were to say, take the whole system of Unani as a whole, how much of it is herbal? How much of it is diet? How much of it is mineral? What would you, I mean, I know it's a hard one to answer, but kind of what would be the main, when you're thinking about everything at your disposal that you could treat with people, would you be thinking more in terms of herbal, or would you be thinking herbal mineral, or just I could just cure this with diet alone?
That's just perfect question. Obviously, according to our medicine, any illness which could be cured by tadbir, it's prohibited to use the remedy, because remedy, even though it heals and cures the illness, but in itself is poison. Because what's the meaning of poison? Anything which disrupts the healthy behavior of the main organs, all of that is poison. Okay. So based on that, the remedy is also poison. Why? For example, I prepare an extract of ruby, okay, to cure the cancer. What does that mean? It means my heart supposed to be hot on that level, but it is now in this level, cannot melt the tumor. Okay, so ruby extract will bring it back there. So, but what about the healthy person? Healthy person is there. If he takes that ruby remedy, the heat will be even further up there, which will make him ill. So each remedy is potentially killing poison. So because of that, if the illness could be cured by tadbir, it's not permissible to use the remedies. Okay, so that's the first point. Very important point. The second point is the effect of the remedies between 5 to 10%. Between 5 to 10%. And the rest of that, the main effect is that the main reason. Okay. For example, in our example of Chernobyl, my remedies will cure its effect on the liver of the patient is between 5 to 10%. Okay. But the main treatment is everything which is surrounding him. So it includes the climate. For example, choleric person living in Sahara, he has got insomnia all the time, chronic insomnia. So I will give him remedy, moisturizing and cold remedy, okay, and it will affect on him, but only for a couple of months or maximum 1 year. But the main reason is him being choleric and living in choleric climate. That's the main reason of the illness. Okay, so the choleric attack will be in the season of Mars all the time, unavoidable, because he's ready to catch that illness.
Right.
So the main 80%, okay, about 80% of the treatment is asking him to move to, for example, melancholic or phlegmatic climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. After bringing him there, most likely, automatically, his body will restore its health, or else I will prepare remedy, 5-10% of effect. That will be more than enough, because the human body is a super herbalist. I would call it like a super doctor, because it heals itself. But create a suitable environment for it, and it will take care of itself. So my remedies will affect the patient only between 5 to 10%. But everything else, so in order to achieve about 80% effect, I have to look into that holistic, the main reasons, and to cut them off from the patient. Yeah.
In Ayurvedically, or in Rasa Shastra, the technique we're using to produce these, we would take a ruby and we would literally reduce it to an ash, and sometimes you can prepare. I mean, I think it's even the Persian technique. It's pishti, where you're grinding it in the rose water. You're making a paste, and is it the same kind of technique in Unani?
I use mainly the acid, like herbal acid. Mainly we do the roots of the plants, because they are stronger. So to produce the acid, because if you do not melt the ruby, body cannot digest it. Okay, so melting it, the best way is the herbal acid.
Like a latex from a plant or something like that would be quite...
No. So preparing the acid, herbal acid, we have got our own way. Okay, so several roots bringing together, and certain techniques should be applied. And after extracting it, after getting that acid, we after that we have to crush the ruby into very fine level, and then we just mix it and we leave it between 6 to 12 months.
Oh wow!
And after that, after extracting, we burn it. But again, burning is not like what people know, but we have tandoor, if you know Asian tandoor,
yeah. What, using cow dung cakes and stuff like that, like buffalo
so that is mainly about metals, but about the minerals, so in the tandoor we just prepare, so it should be in the middle of the tandoor and not close to the roof, and not on the bottom, but in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, so like hanging, etc. And so we leave it there for a few weeks, and after that the extract is ready to be added into the remedy. And then you mix the remedy, and most of the time metals and minerals are used into the elixirs. Okay, and elixirs become ready after 2 years normally.
Wow. Yeah,
it's a very lengthy procedure.
I was listening to one of your talks, and you were talking about, I think it was silver, and you were saying, okay, so silver is really good to use. It's got all these wonderful properties, but the herbal formula is so complex, because all of the other herbs that you're adding are sort of mitigating the effects of the silver kind of thing. So that was an interesting slant on it for me. I'd never heard it quite explained like that before, but that was interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, because our medicine is holistic, okay, so that's why plants, animals, minerals, all of them are used. But according to our medicine, the junior or beginner herbalists, they are not allowed to use metals and minerals. Why? Because the effect which you achieve by using the plants in 2 weeks, you achieve them by minerals and metals within about 2 days. So let's suppose that you diagnose your patient, and it happens that it could be wrong diagnosis, and then you start applying the remedy. And during the time of 2 weeks is enough for you to understand that the remedy is giving opposite effect, and then you understand that diagnosis was incorrect.
Yeah.
But what about if you apply the metal? 2 days not sufficient. The rapid change in the health of the patient, you will not have time to assume that you made the wrong diagnosis.
Right. So, got it.
Yes, so that's why metals and minerals are not allowed for the herbalist, Unani herbalist, to use for his patient. At least he spends 10-15 years practicing. Then he will get to know, then it becomes his on intuitive level. So by intuition, he will start understanding the thing, and then he is welcome to use. So that's the first thing. The second thing, the main organs has got its own twins. The twins, for example, the heart has got its twin among the animals and among the plants, as well as among the metals and minerals. So the twin of the heart is clove or saffron as a plant. Okay. And among the animals, so it is blood of the Mu'tadil Mizaji animals, wolf, lion, so that type of tiger, understand?
Yeah.
And among courageous. The minerals, it is ruby. Among the metals, it is gold. So liver has got its own twins. The meaning of twin is when it is unable to function properly, its twin comes to support. Okay, so it's easy to understand. But the problem is sometimes the illness will be complex. How? For example, I'll give you the fatty liver. Fatty liver, so it is the illness appears in the main organ, which is in the liver.
Yeah.
But the cause of it is heart. Normally, so each main organ is responsible for its own soldiers. So for supportive equipments, let's call it. So for example, the stomach is the equipment of the liver. Intestines are also equipment because liver uses these organs for its function.
Okay.
Understand? So if illness appears in my stomach, so I have to look into the reason for the liver. Or intestine, again liver, because all of these organs support the function of the liver. So as liver uses these secondary organs, so liver also cures them also. So it's not like how to call it, abusive master, who abuses, but then when they are ill, he betrays. No. But liver uses them, but when they fall ill, liver cures them also.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But now we are in totally different situation. The main organ, which is liver, became fatty, blockages, etc., fallen cold.
Yeah.
But the reason of that is another main organ, which is heart. So heart is not producing enough heat. So now I have to use 2 twins. These twins have some conflicting and contradictory elements in it. For the heart, I will use gold. For the liver, I use silver. So silver is cold, okay, and the gold is either mu'tadil, okay, according to some of our scholars, or either it's hot. So it is conflicting, and also on its secondary effect, there are some certain contradictory effects, because it is astringent, silver, okay, but the gold is widening, so it is effect contradictory.
Right.
Okay. So I have to switch off that contradictory things, but both of them come together in certain aspects. So the contradictory aspects, I have to cut them off to avoid the conflict inside of my body. I have to neutralize them so that they do not fight with that opposing side, but they support one another with the according side, with the likewise side. And that's how I prepare the remedy. So the complex illnesses, complex illness is when two main organs fall ill. So these are the most complicated to cure because you have to use the plants and the metals, the remedies of two opposing nature. So before bringing the plants and metals together, so you have to modify them before, and then you bring them together to mix them, to prepare the mixture.
Oh, so the gold and the silver are treated prior to mixing them with the herbs?
Yes, so you have to block that that conflicting side aspects of it.
Right.
Because later or sooner, when they fall next to one another, they will fight with one another, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that battle should not happen inside of the patient's body, you know, but it should be neutralized outside and then inserted in the body of the patient.
Right. And how does what about this that you were saying about like the wolf and the lion and stuff for gold? So how does that help you in your analysis of gold? Would you just be saying, are you saying animal products that will be used in these remedies?
There are two things, you know, obviously. We have face reading. It is part of our medicine also, you know. So face reading, so that is with each single person, yeah. But the thing which I was talking about, twins, that is about remedies. Okay, so as you use gold for the heart, so that's how you use the extract of the lion for the heart. So that's mainly for the heart, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in terms of the in terms of the behavior and the even the illnesses, okay. So that is determined by the animal of the person. But obviously, that is, we call it like ilm al-firasa in Arabic. So it is like face reading.
Yeah.
So I did release quite a few lectures. Maybe you may find.
Yeah, I watched it. It was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and as you know, there are there are two types of the face reading. Yeah, holistic. That's what we follow normally, and the second is local. Okay, so the local is just you are only interested. You are curious only about one aspect of behavior. Okay, so is this person heedless or is he plotting? Just look on the distance between his eyes. So if the distance are very close, so he's plotting person, he will smash you.
Yeah.
Okay, but if they are further from one another, it is very heedless person, naive and heedless person. Understand?
Yeah.
Or for example, you want to know if this person is courageous or coward. Okay, so you look into, for example, his neck. Okay, so this is very local, very small, you can say. So this type of face reading is only for certain aspects of the behavior, but we cannot use that in our herbal medicine. But we use, for example, the holistic. For example, certain illnesses can occur in only certain animals. So this illness does not occur it doesn't appear in other animals. Understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So similarly, the people of this animal cannot get certain illnesses, and other illnesses is their natural illness, for example.
Right.
Okay, but for that we need the first type of face reading, holistic face reading.
Yeah. So you're saying face, but you're looking at shoulders,
everything,
neck, and
everything,
the whole body, even the way
whole
they sit or talk or express. If they use, like I'm quite a person that gestures a lot with my hands, but some people will just sit and won't move their
You have
arms.
to look at everything.
Wow.
You know, because now because of your question, now you reminded me of one. So once I was delivering lecture in big audience. It was mixed audience, Muslim, non-Muslims, and both males and females. You know, these audience, sometimes they are very tricky, you know. So you know, after delivering the lecture, they challenge you. They stand up saying, "Now, can you tell me? Can you read my face?" So after about 2-3 hours of lecture, so I've completed the lecture, and after that they started just standing up, and it was very easy to work out their you know, like their animal, except for one lady. So just she stood up. Straight away I understood she's cat, big cat. Okay, but there are some cats are very similar, you know, and the difference is only in so for example, snow leopard and tiger, both of them, they look very similar, you know. Okay, like wide neck, etc., and like a face. Only the difference, excuse me, I'm going to mention it, the bottom, you know. So the tiger has bigger.
Right.
Snow leopard is like flat, you know, behind, just flat.
Right. Yeah.
But but everything else looks very similar.
Yeah. Interesting.
Only one thing to differentiate. Yeah. So I understood that she's big cat, but I was confused. Is it like tiger or is it snow leopard? Can you imagine what type of like problem, you know?
Wow.
So I did not respond. I said, well, either snow leopard or tiger. She insisted, which one? Well, I couldn't say, can you turn around, please? You know, so it would be very bad, you know. But so I just ignored. I said, well, I don't know, but one of two, either tiger or a snow leopard. But you know, even though the animals could be very tiger and in behavior, they're very, very different, you know. Tiger is tyrant, dictator, and very greedy person, very courageous, but very greedy. Okay, very plotting also. Snow leopard, opposite, very generous, okay, and quite isolated and not tyrant, not like controlling, you know, but tiger is controlling, understand? So just small difference on the back would determine, you know, would explain.
Wow.
So
I mean, that's...
it was unfair maybe on her, but it was unfair. It wouldn't be fair on me either in the audience saying, okay, so can you please, you know, it would be very difficult for me to ask her, you know, to turn around, you know.
So not only do you need to know herbs, minerals, metals, gemstones, you've also got to be a bit of a zoologist. You understand all these animals.
Yeah, it's holistic. So much more. So the herbalist, the most reliable herbalist, is the one who knows all of these things. So as more knowledge he has, that much you can trust the person. Yeah. Sometimes definitely. just small thing could, for example, once I was deceived, you know, by this lady. She was so slim, naturally slim, and very small also. So I checked her pulse. So straight away, based on everything, I understood she's melancholic. Okay, and even pulse, it was dry and it was like tight, etc. But except for one thing, or except for two things, the difference between because she was wearing makeup. Okay, so the skin color is different between melancholic and choleric, but also the melancholic, the choleric person, you know, his veins will be sticking out.
Yeah.
Both dry, but choleric will have the veins sticking out, and the pulse will be fast.
Right.
Based on everything, I said she is melancholic, but when I checked her pulse, it was too fast. I was confused, and then I made diagnosis based on that. Yeah. So because I asked her if she's ashamed, because when they are ashamed or emotional, the heart will beat fast also. She said no. So I just ignored her, and after 5-10 minutes after conversation, because you know, when you meet someone, you get emotional, but after 5-10 minutes you calm down, isn't it? So I gave about 5-10 minutes. I checked, it was still fast.
Right. Okay.
So, but then I had to just ignore all what I have learned about, you know, about the condition, and then I said, the problem is choleric. Only because of this pulse, you know. But I forgot about one thing. You know, pregnant person will have fast heart beating, you know, because right now there are two heats. Or even the melancholic person, even if the pregnancy is also melancholic, but both will make into choleric. So the heart will be fast. So she did not, because I looked at her, you know, she was very slim, but it was, so it, you know, some people, some women, it's genetically, even their mothers, the pregnancy will not appear too much, you know, it's the body shape. So the body shape was misguiding, and I checked the pulse, it was very fast, but so I didn't assume that she could be pregnant, but she was of that type of body shape, which does not show the pregnancy. So I've ignored only one point. So I made the incorrect diagnosis because of that. So the problem was, as I previously thought, it was melancholic and it was not choleric. So that's the problematic side of our thing, you know. So you have to look into everything, even if you miss out just small little thing, which may look very little, but that could be the crucial mistake, you know. That could be the crucial point, you know.
Yeah. Very similar in the Ayurvedic approach as well. They even say sort of misdiagnosis is a diagnosis, because once you know what it's not, you know what it is. So, you know, you were saying earlier about perhaps not getting the remedy right to start with, but as you progressed, you'll get better at it. But even misdiagnosis, and if you're using plants, like you say, you get a chance to correct, because you can you can shift the balance the other way if you're going the wrong, if the treatment's not appropriate. Yeah, really interesting. So it sounds like there's a huge amount of things here. You've got this herbal astronomy, you've got the pulse taking, you've got the face reading, you've got the animals, you've got the correlative organs, balancing. I mean, I was really interested in that idea about the balancing organs, so the sort of heart and which one is feeding on or relying on these sort of subservient organs. That's really interesting. That's very different to the Ayurvedic approach.
Yeah. And also we look in terms of diagnosis. Also, you have to look into the urine, okay, and it has got its own conditions. And you have to look into the feces also, so all of that should be considered, or also each of them will give you form some part of the whole picture. So after looking at all of them, then you understand the problem. Okay, so for example, because we're talking about the default Mizāj, so for example, this person born in choleric season, the choleric season person, he comes to me and, for example, says that he has got oedema, problem with oedema. Straight away, I know that it cannot be, because choleric people, their natural illnesses are dry and hot illnesses, and oedema is exactly opposite.
What was the condition, did you say?
Do you know, body fills with
edema. Sorry, filling.
Edema. Edema. Yeah. So choleric people cannot have that. Okay. So if choleric person comes to me saying, for example, he has got, for example, pain in his teeth, that's chronic. So I understand, because you are like a choleric person and this is your own illness. It's not something strange. Yeah. But if he comes to me and says, I have edema, I say that is something strange. It's not. So either you are not born in that season, choleric season, but if you confirm that it's authentic, okay, in terms of his date of birth, etc., so then I will understand that it's not internal problem, but external. The place in which he lives there is dampness. So that could be the reason. Or the water which he's drinking, maybe I would just ask him to change his water, I don't know, reservoir, what they call, the reservoir, yeah? So maybe that has some problem with it. Okay, but the choleric person cannot have this illness as within, because his condition is hot and dry inside. It causes only hot, for example, headaches, constant headaches, all the migraines. Yes, choleric person, they have it, yeah, but not edema. Okay, so means now you have my patient. So when he complains, so when he comes to me with the edema problem, now I will ask him to describe the place in which he lives and the food which he eats and his habits. Okay, for example, his habit is in the winter he wears. Do you know that Siberian clothes? He lives, let's say, in France. Yeah, so that causes edema for him because his Mizāj is hot. So he should not be wearing extra hot things, because that will switch off the internal heat. His Mizāj will fall cold because of that. So the problem with him was the clothes which he normally wears in the winter. So his habit, about clothes. So means as more you know about all of them surrounding things, holistic, you can say, understanding of the condition will give you very accurate diagnosis. So you will detect the reason of the illness accurately.
Okay. We touched on it briefly. You were talking about the idea of poisons and stuff. Is there any tradition in Unani? So like in the Rasa texts, we'll use kind of poisonous plants. So like the aconites and the
opium.
Is there a tradition of using like the more poison?
Yeah. So obviously everything in the nature, all of that. So when God was creating the human, so he picked up from everything in the universe to form the human. So everything in the planet, including the scorpions, so human has little part from them also.
Right. Okay.
So each of that is used for some certain of illness. Okay, so definitely the poisonous things, for example, mercury is classed as poison, but it's one of the fundamental remedies in our medicine. Okay, mercury. But and also, for example, let's say sulfur. We use it all the time, but sulfur is poisonous.
Mm.
Okay, yeah. So there are ways of modifying all these poisonous plants and minerals and metals. So before modifying them, we do not mix them with the other plants. So any poisonous plant or any poisonous substance should be first modified, and after that added into the remedy.
What would you call that process? And would you call it a cleaning process or a purification process? Or?
Yeah, purification. Yes. So normally, yeah. So obviously, sometimes we'll call it like washing, ghusl, and sometimes we call it ihraq, burning. But you should not take it literally. So washing is not like with the water.
Yeah.
And also burning is not with the fire, you know.
Yeah.
But we call it ihraq and we call it ghusl. Yes. Two ways of doing it.
Okay, so it sounds like there's definitely a crossover there. There's a sort of similarity of approach for those materials. Well, one thing I was going to ask you about, which is obviously very popular at the moment, is shilajit or shilajit or adrajo. I don't know the Unani name for it. It's the bitumen, the from the mountains. It's like the black.
Yeah. Mum. Yeah. It's becoming very popular.
Is it mumia or yeah?
Yes.
So how's the, I mean, obviously that's got 20 years ago when I was studying, nobody knew about it, but now it's become very, very popular. So how is that sort of factoring in? Is that something that you'll be happy to use, or what are your thoughts?
Definitely. It's definitely something, but it is munbit. One of the effects of it is munbit, which means it's growing. Okay, which helps to grow. Yeah, one of the effects. So it means that anything in your body potentially will grow with this. It will support it growing. Okay. Which will include the tumor also, negative tumor, because that potentially can grow. So it will make it to grow also. Okay. So anyway, one thing is very interesting about our contemporary civilization. Everything in the universe is so amazing, its effect is so unique. Even the salt that we use normally in our food, yeah. So, for example, in cancer treatment, we use the salt also, yeah. But because it's like everyday thing, so that's why we do not really respect, But it is so amazing substance. So everything in the planet is very unique, okay. But because now, like researchers discovering. For example, something unique about only some of these substances. So that's how social media is making it very popular. And maybe after a couple of years, they will find something in honey, and after a couple of years, they will find something in the gold. So each like a time period, every 2 or 3 years, some property or some plant or some mineral becomes very popular. But believe me, everything in the planet is very unique, everything. But if you know what is placed by God in each of these things, you will be amazed. So my advice, for the people who are interested in Shalajit or, Mumia, so I advise them to learn any of the ancient herbal medicines, and each herbal, like each school of the herbal medicine, Unani or Ayurvedic. So each of them have got their herbal encyclopedia. So in the herbal encyclopedia, if you open, you find the effect of each of the plants in the ways you will be amazed. And I challenge each of you just to go and open the herbal encyclopedia, or Ayurvedic, and compare what they have said about Chalajit, and compare that against what they have said about saffron. Saffron is 10,000 times better, because saffron is the heart, So heart can create miracles, So its twins can create miracles also.
I noticed a lot of the formulas, it's kind of saffron or pistachio is another one that comes.
Also, moisture, pistachios, definitely. Yeah. So go and read the encyclopedia to see the unique effects of each plant, So that's definitely, Shalajit is very, very useful. Normally, we use it, for example, its munbit effect is very strong. So that's why, for example, broken bones, So if it heals normally, for example, in 1 month, but with Shalajit, it will be twice as shorter, maybe, in 2 weeks, for example, because it makes anything which potentially can grow, it makes it to grow quicker.
But that's, I mean, if it's going to cause a tumor to kind of
also grow, also potentially, yeah, because it helps anything to grow.
So how would you be able to counteract that by?
You can stop that. Yes, definitely. You can modify. You can modify it by adding like opposite effect plants. But that should be done outside of the body. First, you should modify, then you should consume.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we've sort of come to the end of our talk. I just wondered if this is a fascinating subject. I mean, I could go on for another hour easily, but perhaps another time we can speak again. It was just to say, so do you want to explain to people, how would people go about contacting you? I mean, I know you're running a school.
Yeah.
I'll put up all the information at the end underneath so people can see contact links and stuff. But can you explain about how people would study with you or what?
Yes. So we have our college. So it is Ibn Sina College. Okay, so we did call it, and after the name of our main grandfather, Ibn Sina. It is 3 years program in which we do not only teach the Unani but many other medicines. Okay. And from this year, potentially, we're going to add also the shamanic medicine, also the Native American, and for example, the Chinese acupuncture we have been teaching. So it is like a full-time college. Yeah, and they can contact me on my Facebook. They can just join me. And also, we have WhatsApp forums in which my number is also there. They can join there also. The enrollments normally it opens in October. The first 2 weeks of teaching, 2 lectures. It will be for free. Anyone can join and listen to our introduction. And after that, they can join if they want to continue or if they want to go with some other institute. Yeah, so, and obviously after 3 years, it is fundamental 3 years. After that, we have 2 specializing courses. The first is doctors. Okay, we call them tabib. It is about diagnosing and treatment. And the second, we call them saydalani, which is pharmacist, herbalist. How to prepare the remedies, modifying the method, etc. But it does not mean that the herbalists will not know anything about how to cure, but they will have good knowledge, but their expertise will be in one field. But both will have fundamental knowledge of both sides. Yeah, but obviously the first fundamental 3 years could be done online. And the specializing course is also 3 years. The first of that 3 years can be online, but the next 2 years should be in person. So the tabibs will go to the hospital, and the saydalanis, pharmacists, will go to the laboratory. So that is our way. And also once a year, we do the retreats. In the retreats, we do normally a lot of workshops like pulse reading, preparing some remedies, going and picking. So just so our students have some taste of practicing the medicine. Yeah, and this year is going to be in July, end of July. Yeah, and so they can just contact me directly, or contact the institute, Ibn Sina College, and we are happy to assist further.
Amazing. So 3 years you could do it online, but if you wanted to specialize, then that would require face-to-face. So people would need to actually come and.
Yeah, because for example, you have to be checking the pulses and preparing remedies and curing, like treating the patients and watching, monitoring their progress. Yeah, so all of that will be there in the specializing.
Okay, well, I'll put all the links so people can follow if they're interested. I recommend looking on YouTube. The Hakeem's got a fantastic, there's loads and loads of videos on there. You can spend hours watching. There's all different sorts of subjects. Some are very short, some are longer. So you've got a good range of introductory subjects there. So I highly recommend anybody going to there and having a look. So anyways, I'll say thank you again for coming, and I really appreciate your time. And it was really great to speak to you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.